Hey everybody, this is Lee Stark at the Gadget Grill, and right now we're going to take a look at the LG Arena, a phone that's very similar to one that most people love, the iPhone, but is, well, a little bit different. You can see the front, it's smaller than the iPhone, 3-inch screen, headset jack at the top, that's your switch for the light button you push down to remove the back. Power switch. Here LG have actually done something good. They've, instead of using one of those bits that pop out, there's now a sliding door for what is sadly a proprietary connection. And the other side has the volume right there. The back, you have a 5 megapixel camera with a autofocus and sort of flash thing, and the bottom, if you can see it, there's actually a Dolby logo right there because this thing supports Dolby Mobile, which actually makes the sound somewhat better than the iPhone, which is kind of cool. But it has its flaws. It makes only some things sound better. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to turn this on, and I'll turn off the light here in a second so you can see just how good this looks. I'll just hold this down, turn it back on. Now this uses haptic, so this vibrates slightly when you use this. So that's kind of cool. Now you can see here the interface looks very similar to one like the iPhone, but instead of moving past menus like you do in the iPhone, here you're just moving the actual parts that you want. Now this isn't the only interface you've got. If you rotate, the accelerometer kicks in and you get the all the icons in there. Likewise, if you're more of someone who chooses that frame on landscape, you get it that way. But that's not all. The home screen actually uses a different interface. This is part of the S-Class interface, the system, and what you get is sort of like a rotating cube, and it sort of makes you feel as if LG have done what HTC have been trying to do for a while, and that is make a more tactile system that really looks good in the hand. And so that's what this does, and it's really easy to use. If you click this bottom thing here, you get a spinning cube, and then you can rotate to whatever you want more quickly. So I can go to my widgets here quickly and log into those, and there they are, and I can scroll them down or add new ones if I wanted to. And I could make a phone call there if I wanted to as well, voice call or a video call, which is that option there. I'm just going to go and show you some of the better features of this. The camera is pretty obvious. Once you hit camera, you get camera and video camera. And actually, I'll go back in there because one of the cool things about it is actually how they've set this up. Now, you're not going to see much more than my desk here. I apologize. But if you go into settings here, some of the cool things they've done to make it easy are to make this look a lot more like you're using an actual camera. Now, it's a shame that the actual speed of the camera isn't anywhere near as good as this, but you know, it's obvious there have been some things to try. And also, getting out of this, you know, it's not quite as simple as pressing the red button because it takes a little bit longer. That's, I guess, a shame, one of the problems of using the flash interface, but that said, it's easily one of the speediest operating systems we've used in a while. Now, I'll just show you something quite cool I liked. There's actually an FM radio function in here, which, you know, you need the headphones to actually use because of the antenna, but they've done two good things with the FM system here. First, they've applied tactile feedback, or the haptics anyway, the little vibrations, for when you drag this along here. And you can't feel what I'm feeling, but it almost feels as if I'm pressing a dial. Little cool features like that. That isn't what interests me, actually. It's the FM transmitter that does. Because you can now transmit using this. You have to plug some headphones in, so it sort of seems a little bit moot. But you can transmit to a radio your music, which is cool. And that's, you know, always a useful thing to have, especially if you're in a car and you don't have one of those line-ins to play off of. Now, as for messaging, this is kind of an odd box. I'm unsure of what to think on this. I'll just load this up and start typing my message here. Now, in portrait mode, you get a system very similar to the Prada, I guess, with this, you know, press the letter twice sort of thing. And I've never been a fan of it. Once you rotate to landscape, the QWERTY kicks in, and it's not terrible. I'm just typing random letters right now, but it's actually not bad. You know, it's not the same as the iPhone, but they've done a good job, and the tactile feedback, the haptics underneath, certainly give it some better ability, some easier ability for this device. I'll get out of here. Yep. Now, I guess on the downside, some of the things that have bugged me so far are battery life. I'm only getting about a day out of this, which is just, you know, not brilliant. It's almost as bad. Actually, no, in some ways the battery life is worse than the iPhone on this, because listening to music seems to drain it, using the camera seems to drain it, using the FM transmitter seems to drain it. I guess using your device drains it. I mean, and that's acceptable, but not brilliantly. I'm also not a fan of this applications thing. LG have done a good job here by including the option for applications, and they've got a GPS and a GPS in there, and they have a whole bunch of features. Wi-Fi is included in this, tapered glass so you can't scratch with your keys, but this applications thing's a bit weird because you get Google Maps out of the box, but you don't get any other applications. You click here and you just get right back to it. It's almost as if there's room for an app store, but they haven't done anything about it. So I'm a little bit confused by that. Also, you get tapered glass on the front, which is cool, but the back's beginning to wear, and if you can see this right there, and I think you can, even with the light there, that little mark on the corner right there, that's from keeping it in my pocket with my keys for about 3 days. So that tells me that while the front is designed incredibly well, the back is sort of a little bit weaker, and you can actually determine that quite easily as well, because getting this back off by pushing this down and pulling up on it and trying to release it from there is a real pain in the ass. Like, I can't stress that enough. I'm also not so sure about the contact system, but it is mostly a great device. Like, it's certainly an excellent phone for someone who wasn't quite sure on the iPhone or wanted something smaller. It's very well built from the front, we can definitely see that, and it looks like it'll survive a drop, but I guess the paint probably won't on the back. But I'm actually quite impressed by it, and it takes a lot to impress me with an iPhone that could possibly be an iClone. I actually think it's going to be a good one, and I recommend taking a look at your local phone store when it comes out. It's the LG Arena, and it is out, well, nowish. Take a look.